Thanks for tuning in to the Marvel Movie Minute.
Want to skip those pesky ads and get early access?
Become a member at truestory.fm/join and discover all the other great perks that come with it.
Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a weekly podcast in which we assemble to explore the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe 5 minutes at a time. In this, our 9th season, we're looking at Captain America, the Winter Soldier. I'm Matthew Fox.
I'm Pete Wright.
I'm Kyle Wilson.
And today we're talking about minutes 76 through 80, which begins with Jasper name-dropping famous Marvel characters and ends with Sam quite literally bringing a knife to a fully automatic machine gun fight.
That's a hell of a kicker, though. Just Sam with the knife.
And it's like, that is not a knife that Crocodile Dundee would respect, to be clear. Like,
No,
that is a small little blade.
But
Yeah.
Deadpool would.
100%.
That's
Deadpool
true.
would. This is wait just a minute. Kyle, you were not here last time, and we started our
I missed
run.
some soft bedroom conversation between Natasha and Steve.
You did, but most importantly, you missed the first few seconds introduction of Falcon's wings.
Yes.
And we tried. We did our level best. But we want to make sure you have the floor, at least briefly, to do some foundational work with us on your Falcon lore. It's Falcon lore with Kyle.
Okay. I'll keep this brief because I know we want to keep the show thing, because I did research back into it because you had sort of caught me off guard with that. I'm like, I looked it back up in a while, and I forgot how bonkers that story actually is. That they go to they meet on an island, exile island, and they're fighting Nazis, and Cap's like, these people need a symbol. We should make you a falcon. And they have a whole costume so that the people can rally behind him and fight off these Nazis who have taken over. And he's literally just a guy in a falcon costume, and he does not fly for a while. And then Cap's like, hey, you're a falcon. Maybe we should get you some wings. Hey, T'Challa, do you think you can come up with some wings? And T'Challa, being the Black Panther, the magnanimous king that he is, was like, absolutely. And so that the first set of wings they are Wakandan wings. They're ones created by the Black Panther. So that is where the first set of wings came from. Yeah, so that, and in terms of, as looking through it, I forgot then this was also when Falcon was one of the most prominent Black characters in Marvel entirely. After T'Challa had been there, he was sort of the next one who was front and center, sharing the cover with Steve in 1960s, so it was a big deal.
That was one of the notes we did call out, was he was the first Black character not to have the modifier Black in his superhero title.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Black Panther, Black Lightning, all of those, Spike Vulcan, all those guys. And he's Falcon.
And it's not like Black Falcon has trouble rolling off the tongue. That, it's not like you had to do it with Falcon. You could have made him Black Falcon, and I'm really glad they didn't. I'm also really glad to hear the connection between his wings and T'Challa, and presumably them being made of vibranium, because we haven't gotten there yet, but I believe later in this movie, and certainly in later movies and Falcon appearances, the wings being bulletproof is 100% a thing without any explanation whatsoever. So knowing that they have that vibranium history, even if that's not part of the MCU's canon itself, at least makes sense.
Yeah, I know. Maybe there's something that S.H.I.E.L.D. has that's underneath. So it's adamantium, vibranium, and then starkium. Maybe it's the stuff that they came up with in Iron Man 2, his dad invaded, whatever. Something along those lines to make them a little sturdier than you would think.
That's really interesting. All right, so we do. We had some seconds of Falcon in this suite of two 5 minutes, but mostly we wrap up our interrogation and we get some exposition dump.
That's right. This is why you go off the little guys and squeeze them, because just one little kick off of a building and suddenly Jasper's ready to sing.
Right, and he does give us He gives us the world, Jasper. He gives us the entire plan. The mission statement of Hydra across this movie is to choose targets: the TV anchor in Cairo, the Undersecretary of Defense, the high school valedictorian in Iowa City. Bruce Banner and Stephen Strange are on the same level as the high school valedictorian in Iowa City.
Quite a jump up. Like, I want to know that valedictorian because, like, the next thing I mentioned is Bruce Banner. I was like, that's quite a list.
Yeah. And Stephen Strange, right? The Stephen Strange name drop is awesome because this is 3 years prior to Doctor Strange?
Yeah, I think 2016, I think, as it came out. So it must have been firmly in pre-production, if not in production by this point. So it wasn't one of those aspirational things like Iron Man 2 and they mentioned Wakanda. Like it's pretty, they already have it cast, they already have it on the way. So that was I think it was a smart pull for them to put that in there to be like wink.
And I remember people going nuts over that. Like that was a big point of discussion on like the MCU podcast and stuff like that when this movie came out, as well as a lot of people trying to really dive hard to figure out like who that high school valedictorian in Iowa City was. And for the most part, I think intentionally coming up with nothing, but I heard a lot of theories about who might have gone to high school in Iowa City.
But it's interesting now sort of being here we are in the future, looking back, going, why would S.H.I.E.L.D. or let's put Hydra even care about Stephen Strange? Because at this point, he's a surgeon who got in an accident, went to Nepal, and now just lives in a brownstone. Like, I don't think it's known that he's like the sorcerer supreme at this point. He doesn't make like a big splash when he saves the world. He kind of does it quietly in another dimension and then comes back just like, all right, back to New York. So I don't know why he would necessarily make this list aside from fan service.
I mean, I think it's just that they may also not realize Bruce Banner is the Hulk. I think it's because they're two of the smartest people.
Oh, no. I think they very much know that. I mean, after Events of Incredible Hulk.
After the Avengers.
He was a fugitive. I mean, and the Avengers now, too.
That's
yeah.
fair, but I think, with Strange, at least, I think it's just that he's one of the smartest people in the world. And that algorithm would say smart people who are also not good at taking orders is exactly the kind of person who'd go to the top of the list.
And must be the very top of the list for Sitwell to be terrified on the roof of this high rise and drop that name in the first set of 5 things, right? Like, they're really talking about Stephen Strange at the highest levels of Hydra. Even not just the highest at the Sitwell levels of Hydra.
And let's go around the room and name people we would put on that list. No.
It does give us the entire, again, the mission statement of the movie that he tells us now. Hydra is doing this. Hydra is reading your bank records. Yeah, and what was the line? Evaluating people's past to predict their future.
That was Zola who was doing all that.
At what point do we do a digression on Snowden? And this movie is a direct reflection of real life.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of those scary things where like they're talking about the algorithm looking at your data and knowing exactly what is and determining your future. And I was like, ooh, boy. Marcus and McFeely, man, you really had your finger on the pulse because, here we are 10 plus years later. And yeah, this is exactly what is happening right now. And right now the race is who can make the best Zola.
Right. And to me, that's part of the irony of it is that I think for very good reason, they were saying be scared of the government doing it. And we should be. And that is still a thing the government's trying to do. But the fact is the government is being lapped constantly by corporate America, who isn't trying to figure out who's a danger to the government. They're trying to figure out what do we sell you next, and that's which in many ways it's just as insidious. And, so yeah, I think this is one of the things in the movie that has aged so well and how much it predicted the exact kind of situation we're in today.
Yeah. I mean, I think of Westworld too. Like if you get farther into Westworld past the cowboy stuff, like there's a big thing sort of in the later seasons where they talk about how the algorithm has now figured out who you're going to marry, when you're going to die, and then is like making investments or whatever based on that information and then running you like a program. So yeah, it's direct line. There was some real hard sci-fi truths that we're still grappling with.
This movie came out less than a year after the NSA leaks broke. So when we talk about Marcus and McFeely and the Russos having their fingers collectively on the pulse, they had their fingers on the pulse years prior to the NSA leaks happening, right? This was almost prophecy by the time they were making this movie, and then this stuff happens. I mean, it just I think it is absolute, like Matthew, you say how well it's aged. It is truly pristine in the shot that it managed to call here. It's incredible.
It's kind of impressive how much they're also sort of allowed to do. Like that was, as I'm sort of watching this, thinking, well, this was like top of mind, top of news to be like sort of going after the military industrial complex in a Marvel movie. And like I sort of think about, they did like Disney just did their first sort of Planet of the Apes movie, plus all of like the war and dominance of two, and it was so toothless. Whereas like that, and I think of this and go, wow, what happened? Like that you were allowed this much freedom to sort of flex a little bit, and now they would never allow you to do anything like this. And as we've seen sort of with the Captain America 4, like they did everything they could to like not call attention to any particular idea, prophecy, topic, anything controversial.
Right.
Down to like wiping all references to the character being Israeli, or certainly any connection to the Israeli Secret Service that I can't remember the name of.
Mossad.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's really true, and I think that it's interesting because this is still the era when the U.S. military is helping pay to get these movies made, and so they are inserting positive references to the U.S. military, and so for example with Falcon and his character and things like that, and it's just you kind of have to wonder, like, did they just not realize what was being said with this part of it, or is it that it's so subtle enough that they miss it, or just that they were a lot more hands off? Because I would imagine that today, if the MCU was trying to make a movie that was this critical of ongoing, government policy, the military would say, we're going to pull our money unless you cut that.
Yeah, roll that way back. Yeah.
What's interesting about that is I think maybe a policy change comes when the movie is about, we're making this case that mass surveillance and predictive analytics equals authoritarian pre-crime, right? But that was before we knew it was happening. Once you know it's happening, then you got to put the authoritarian boot on the neck of the creative, right? I mean, that's the stuff that we don't want to hang a flag on. I don't know.
I think there is also the one key difference, and I think it doesn't play in it. Like it's hard. It's really subtle, so I don't know if it registers for people, but this might be also the line that Marvel was able to use. In this, they're not saying that the algorithm is hacking anything. They're saying that all this stuff is publicly available, and this algorithm is gathering all of that and then processing from it. What Snowden revealed was that the NSA was gathering a whole bunch of things far beyond that. It was hacking in and listening in on people's phones, and it was doing all this kind of stuff beyond that. And, I talked before about whether it's government or corporate America. I think we're now things like Palantir. Sorry if they were going to become a sponsor, and I'm blowing that up now. But they're kind of that overlap of where government and commercial world are now coming back together. But yeah, I mean, it's very scary, and I think that was kind of the point. Is part of it's about, hey, how dangerous is it that people can do all this? But also part of it's about, hey, how easily are we giving them all our information?
And just to reemphasize for anyone out there who's working on the other side of this, these are the bad guys. The bad guys are the ones who are doing this. So, maybe if you look at your job description, it lines up with what Hydra was doing, maybe you should think about moving on to a new career.
Excellent point. I'm glad we should put a flag on those particular kinds of points. When the bad guys are just doing business today, that's a problem. We do have the let's see.
Road trip.
I think really, now we get to meet the Highwomen. Matthew?
Oh, I have a few other things to say about this conversation with Jasper first.
Oh, for sure.
All right.
Can we talk about Jasper's emotional 180 that happens halfway through? Because he is so scared and he is so worried. And then they talk about the algorithm, and Captain America says, how would it know? And he just all of a sudden goes from, oh no, I can't believe you're going to hurt me, to mwahaha, let me James Bond villain tell you our evil plan. Did that seem really kind of weird that he just has that flick of a switch? Is that just the actor having fun? Do you think that's intentional?
No, I think it was, it literally is, Jasper is a squirmer. Like, basically, he's like, sees which way the wind is going, like, oh, okay. Like, I'm not a fighter. Like, I'm not gonna stand up to torture or anything, too. I already think our side's going to win. Like, we've got 3 helicarriers full of, heavy ordnance ready to launch in just a couple hours. I think he really is very confident in where he sits, so he's not really as worried. So he's more than willing to just roll over and just be like, oh, okay, well, I mean, you guys have already lost, so.
Yeah.
I also think there's a piece of it where you get him talking about the specifics of the technology, and Sitwell, who is, I imagine at the end of his title is the word analyst, is probably pretty proud of what they have accomplished, just at a raw technological level. Being able to do this, once he starts saying, like, look at all the stuff we get, it's amazing what we have done. And that's, to me, what that pivot represents, is Sitwell going from the reality of his situation to Sitwell being a braggart about, what they've accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's pretty proud of his connections too. I mean, later we'll see, Pierce like calls him on the phone, so that doesn't seem to be an uncommon occurrence. He's probably worked directly with Zola in that thing, but he probably felt like he was just such a special boy because he's always important people are around him.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think that interplay of how could it know, how could it not? Yeah, it makes sense that it's there, because that's where he starts to be like, oh, look how stupid you are. So therefore, let me show you how smart I am. Now, here's the other question I have about this. And it's a question I kind of had about the whole movie, but here's the time to ask it. So the plan is that the helicarriers go live and just start committing mass murder.
Yes.
Let's be clear. It's not that the American justice system has decided that the algorithm, if you're an F-15 pilot flying over Washington, D.C., of which there are multiple, or perhaps someone at Andrews Air Force Base not far away, and all of a sudden, there are these 3 helicarriers mass murdering people. Don't you think the U.S. Air Force might come over and have a look? Maybe fire.
Who's to say they're not on the list already?
It just, to me, you're so wrapped up in it that you don't care. But the whole point of this podcast is that we get to care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This plan makes no sense whatsoever. Like, the first 10 people are taken out, and the missiles are flying, and these helicarriers are going down. Like,
yeah, especially, I mean, Sitwell characterizes it as when we start scratching people off the list, a few million at a time. The scale of that particular genocide is something the movie doesn't ever need to reckon with, because plot.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see I want to see the slide deck of the pitch for this. Like,
right?
Like, what was it? Just like, no, deterrence.
Yeah,
exactly.
So all the weapons will be fully live. I mean, no, we're gonna have live ammo in all of them, but like, deterrence, right? You see that on there, and people will just surrender. Like, we don't have to fire a shot.
Yeah. And you can hear, like, it was probably Sitwell making the case, and he probably put, like, the theme to Top Gun at the back of the PowerPoint, right? Like,
I'm just saying, like, granted, a machine gun way up in the air has a pretty far range. Do you know what's out of the range of a machine gun floating over Washington, D.C.? Iowa City. And it's valedictorian. Like, you got to take that helicarrier a couple thousand miles.
Iowa City.
Anyway, okay. So with that, let's go into the greatest road rage exposition scenes that we've ever seen. And I just want to say, you all know that I care about how characters die, and I care about when our heroes die, when our heroes kill people. And I think a trope that I think Marvel falls into, but I love it every time, so I don't mind that it's a trope, but I think it's worth calling out, is a really bad guy is now hanging out with our heroes, and our heroes can't just kill him, but he absolutely deserves to die. And so either by intent or by accident, when the enemies start attacking our heroes, that guy will be the first to die, and he will die quite gruesomely. And I think the Jasper being in the middle of berating Cap for a stupid idea, pulled out of the car and thrown literally into the path of a truck, which I think is a U-Haul.
Death by Penske.
Yeah, Penske, thank you. Which I don't know who's in the Penske PR department decided, how about if our product placement is we murder someone?
No,
Twice.
we'll take anything.
This is the second time. My headcanon is like there was a guy who got a Penske truck to move and like hit and during the Nick Fury thing, hit the one, was like, oh no, and then went back and got a second truck and is now leaving the city. He's like, ooh, that was a bad morning. And, oh no, not again.
Can you imagine his insurance? Like,
right?
No one's going to rent him a truck ever again. But yeah,
he's like, I just got fired. I'm trying to move back upstate. Like,
he's going back to Iowa City. Come on.
Right.
Anyway, what'd you guys think?
Get to the graduation.
What'd you guys think of Jasper's death?
Well, I love it. I love it because whenever everything you just described, right? Like whenever this happens and the character is ripped from the scene, you just know, oh, so I'm done learning everything I need to know about the movie now. Now it's just action, because not only did he get the exposition dump, then he was killed. So, functionally, doylistically, it's really satisfying to know I'm totally caught up and now they're just going to be a parade of pixels. And it's awesome.
I love an interrogation interrupted, like that they're having this conversation. Like I love when an action scene crashes into a dialogue scene. They do it. It's one of my favorite tropes. They do it all the time, and it gets me every single time. Like, oh god, like just that fast. It's like, hey, what is the? And then Jasper's flying out the window. Yeah. I love it.
Well, and I just love the squaring of the circle of the. Obviously, we're going to find it very satisfying for this guy to die a gruesome death, but we don't want our heroes to do it. And so here's how we can have both. We can have the cake and eat it too, in a way that, like, if Natasha actually kills him, this becomes a very different kind of movie.
The only thing I think that would have made it better is had we heard in the background just, I'm on your side. Like that would have really completed the death for me. So it's a very elegant way to end the exposition on behalf of Jasper. And we get to move on to the Winter Soldier on the roof. And this is the first time where the film's sort of action commitment hits, right? Because we've had a lot of action beats, but this is the one where the Winter Soldier gets to be his complete evolution as the Winter Soldier, right? He is completely dominating. He has minions. He jumps off of bridges. He has his grenade gun. He walks through smoke. Like we get the awesome, he slides backwards and his fingers are in the asphalt. All of that stuff is what makes his character in this movie the thing we've been waiting for over an hour. This is where it pays off.
Yeah, because we've seen a little bit of that in the Nick Fury thing. Like we got to see him, shoot his cool mine launcher gun, but then he's failed his target. We've seen him shoot through a wall and get somebody. But now this is what level 6 is, I guess, because this is what Pierce told him is the time for subtlety is done. Do the thing that you do, because he is unafraid, like bright sunlight, just standing in the middle of the road. He is not trying to hide. He's not the guy with the sniper rifle shooting through someone from a distance with a grainy photograph. Like, no, this is like, they know the secret is out. Like there's going to be tons of footage of him now. So it's like, at this point, go for broke.
You mentioned so many of the scary things he did, and all of them are up there. But for me, the absolute top, we've seen the person reach into the car and grab the steering wheel to twist it one way or another to direct you.
Yeah.
But just straight up ripping the steering wheel out of the dashboard.
That can happen?
That to me is terrifying. It's just such a visceral, oh my God, that is not supposed to be what that does.
My friend Lorraine Dom, friend of the show, loves this movie. Maybe you see maybe the number one Bucky stan out there, and this is one of her favorite moment of this movie is Bucky takes the wheel. Like that, it's such a power move. I'm just reaching in and ripping it out. Like, what are you gonna do now? And Sam is looking like Like, never crossed his mind that would happen. And like, well, what do you do?
To me, the sequence that in this moment that I go back to is riding the shield.
Yes.
That is such a viscerally bruising effect, right? When he says, hold on, and grabs them and falls out and starts sliding on the shield while Sam is just doing barrel rolls down the highway behind them as they've all come out of this flying car. And it's not a very glamorous stunt, right? It's not one of the most sort of flamboyant stunts, but it just reminds me how brutal soft things smashing into hard things feels, and it really works.
Was it the shield? Because I thought they at one point are sliding down on a car door.
No, he knocks the door out, but he's got his shield in between him and the door.
Yeah,
so the door comes out
really fast.
Yep.
Like Cap takes the shield and puts it against the door, has Nat already in his lap because he came from the back because Winter Soldier was shooting down, and then grabs Sam. And then it was really hard to tell exactly how he did it, but I guess enough leverage that he sort of pushed down and then knocked the door off as it hit the ground, and then it stays while the car continues on. And then because of momentum and physics, the door slides along, but it's sort of like door, shield, Cap, Nat, and then Sam unfortunately
bounces off.
Once for a while, and then exactly, because it goes rolling down the street.
So let's talk about the shield, because Kyle, you are the MCU physics expert, and
I am.
I know
wow.
we have some questions about vibranium.
Returning questions about recurring questions about vibranium.
What is it that happened? Because if it does stop all vibration going through, how is it that machine gun fire doesn't do anything, but when the shield gets hit by a rocket, it sends Cap flying? Is it just that the vibration doesn't affect the metal, but that the force is transferred through? Because that certainly doesn't happen other times.
Yeah, that was my thought. Yeah, because we haven't seen him shrug off anything missile sized. So I think it is very small pieces of metal coming. It can very much easily take that thing. But an explosion, especially something small, getting very big, very fast. There is just that concussive force that it doesn't matter you can absorb vibration or not. It's going to push whatever is on there. And as we've seen later on, that he'll take a hit and then we'll go sliding across because there's still that kinetic energy, but not enough that it actually will damage him inside. I think that's part of it. It's just preserving the thing or person that's behind it, not necessarily stopping all physical force from doing it. I think you need the power stone in order to get that level. Because even we see later on with Black Panther, when he's in a full vibranium outfit, he's still getting knocked around. But the fact that he can just stand back up then and later on then can give that force back. But obviously that's further technology. This is still just a circle.
So to put it in D&D terms, you have total immunity to thunder damage, but not necessarily force damage.
Yes.
Done.
That's very good. I like that.
That is about the best explanation I've ever heard of vibranium. Yeah. It took D&D to get there.
There we go.
Outstanding. Yes. Now, this is that's the shield. Were there any other shield physics questions? Or was
I'm sure there'll be more.
I'm sure there'll be. Yeah, for sure there'll be more.
As Peter says later on, this thing does not obey the laws of physics at all.
Winter Soldier walks through smoke is I think it's the shot that puts Sebastian Stan on the action hero movie map. He is so cool. A little bit you want him to win. Yeah. Right? Come on.
Just so powerful. And I love the fact that you talked about he has this little crew. He has a grenade launcher steward.
Yes.
I love that. He walks by, just hands out your grenade launchers, and just hands it to no words. They know. They know, oh, he's going to want that. I should have that ready for him.
And I liked it because I will note, we've already noted this before, but I do think that the DC traffic is at least a little more responsive to, Beirut-style assassinations on the streets of Washington, D.C. In this, we hear one or two cars honk. and drive out of the way, and that's about it.
There is I will go all the way back to Incredible Hulk. There is a long-standing tradition of Marvel like people going like, it'll be fine. They'll clear it out. Like, there's two raging titans like in Harlem beating the crap out of each other, and people are like, yeah, but I have shopping to do.
Yeah.
Kyle, I am from New York City, and I will not stand for the slander that puts New York City people and Washington, D.C. people in, like, if you grew up in New York City, you have seen some shit, okay?
But you also know that when stuff goes down, you get away. Like, oh, hey, that's not my problem. I need to get the heck out of here. Not like stand in the gates and be like, how about that?
Marvel pedestrians are NPCs. No, but it doesn't matter what city they're in. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we as much as there could be with all both, like we see nobody getting hit by stray bullets.
We don't. So, like, there are a couple where like grenade throws Miata off the bridge, kind of thing.
Go boom, and there's like, there's no way that they survive that.
Well, but here's the question I was building towards, though. Did you all, when that truck, though, comes up from behind and slams into the back of the car that Falcon is driving, did you all immediately figure out that was henchmen? Because at first I thought that was, we're finally dealing with the fact that like, this is happening and cars are driving. And I thought it was just and then I realized, like, oh no, you're still accelerating. Okay, clearly this is bad people doing bad things. Once again, if your job is to smash into another car in your car, you're doing what Hydra does, probably quit your job. But unless you work for Demolition Derby. But anyway, but yeah, like did either you have it took you a moment to realize this was an intentional thing, not just this is more of the traffic pileup because we're fighting World War III on the highway?
No, I think it pretty much has that like bad guy motif, like big, scary black SUV, like it kind of reads as like, oh yeah, this is what bad guys did around it.
Yeah, I think the first like close up as it's coming into the bumper is a giant knobby tire and fender, and it just felt like this is not a standard DC fare. And so I think I had it pegged pretty early. Also, these guys are running from somebody, and we know action must ensue. And we already knew the whole story, so surely something was going to happen. This gets us. I think this gets us to the did anybody survive on the overturned city bus sequence?
Right? Yeah, because it's Cap on the shield, like draws fire. He pushes Nat away, gets hit by the grenade from the grenade launcher, goes flying over the edge through the bus, loses the shield. Bus then gets hit by a truck and rolls to the side, and he is, as far as we can tell, out. Like Cap is like knocked out, and we don't see him for the next couple of minutes. He is definitely got his bell rung at that point.
Yeah. So Natasha gets to swing.
Yeah.
That's
love
pretty
that.
cool.
Heidi Moneymaker, shout out.
Yeah. Yep. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Then we get Hargrave and Moneymaker, right, doing their thing in this sequence. It's just lovely to watch these stunts. It's just fantastic. She gets to slide. It does indicate she's wearing her bracers of rope protection all the time.
Well, according to Marvel, they are known as Black Widow's gauntlets. But I always thought of them as with a different name. But it turns out one of the things I thought of is because one of the features of them. They first appeared in Tales of Suspense number 64 in January of 1965, written by Stan the Man Lee and Don Heck as the artist. If you've seen the original, if you go back to like our Iron Man 2 episodes and stuff, you know that Black Widow, when she first showed up, was very much femme fatale. She was like in a dress with like a veil and, very much like, despite here, she shows up as like a proper supervillain in like almost a Spider-Man-esque unitard and mask and things. And then she has these things now. So the gauntlets essentially are, they have weapons in them. So they have the Widow's Bite, which is when you see her when you see the energy come out, like she uses that in Avengers, and we'll continue to on that sort of the zap. The Widow's Kiss, which they don't use in the movies, which is like a gas to like knock people out, and then the Widow's Line, which is what we see here. There's a little things she grapples onto and goes on. Each gauntlet has different things in it. So like one does the electricity, one does the thing, so you can't have them all. There is a and this isn't just me talking, this is from the Holy Gospel of Ohatmu, the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. There is a diagram that shows exactly what is inside all of those and how they work. And so I will be sending that to the thing, and we will have that in the show notes. But it was one of my favorite things because they really at the time got into this stuff, and they would like do complex breakdowns and like open up, and they literally would go and show you each piece of it and how it works. So
and
it's not
how
just
much
physics.
rope it can actually hold, because that's always what I think when this
and how you have that much coiled up inside the little thing.
Yeah.
Very
How can she
thick coil.
possibly bend her elbow? I'm sure it's all wrapped up around her arm.
Right. Yeah, because the ones that we see in here are literally just around her wrists, but like the sort of the ones she has later are more like down the arm.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah, you get that full
space to put
bracers
stuff.
kind of gauntlet feel to them.
Yeah. And yeah, I also love that she comes out from underneath and is, doesn't stop, like grapples over the side as the car falls, hits the ground, continues on, and then looks and sees the Winter Soldier's shadow on the top of the thing and stops. It's like, oh man, like tactical awareness, like an underrated power that she is already like seeing by where the sun is. Like, oh, if I come out, he's going to kill me. So I can get an angle on him from here.
Well, and there's something just so powerful about seeing him and his minions use these incredibly powerful 80 million bullets a moment, Gatling gun style machine guns, and she just has pistols. And you just know that that's how effective she is. Because at the end of the day, like, you don't need 100. You need to fire 100 bullets because you're not good enough to hit somebody with one, and that her pistol, they're close enough range. She can fire one pistol and be far more effective.
And yes, and she does. She shoots him in the eye, like from underneath, shooting up at maybe she could just see the top of his head. She shoots him in the eye, like she's that good that when he drops back down to take cover, it's cracked on the right lens. Like if he hadn't been wearing that bulletproof face mask, she'd have got him.
Yeah, it's good.
It's pretty impressive.
It's really impressive. Steve wakes up. Steve gets the bus, catches the bus. Mostly it's chaos. And are there any other major beats that strike you?
Well, we see a cameo from Old Painless.
Oh,
the big minigun as the one. This is not last time we've seen this in the MCU, but also from Predator. This is what Jesse Ventura held. And it didn't work on the Predator, and it doesn't work on Captain America either.
No, it doesn't work on Vibranium. And also
and
running
also
through
hear,
the bus.
We hear Bucky also speaking. I think that maybe it's
Russian.
the first line. I think, in Russian. Yeah, I have her find him. So he has picked Natasha as his target at this point. And then he's having his guys focus on that. And then as Cap then is waiting on him to come out the bus, we see Sam that is starting to move into action. With his adorable knife.
That is an interesting moment from the Winter Soldier, because it does, like, I'm a New York Knicks fan. I have basketball in the head right now. But if my 7-foot guy says to me, hey, why don't you guard their 7-foot guy? I'll cover the 5'6" guy. I'm kind of like, why are you sending me against Super Soldier and you're going after the woman with a pistol? Like,
yeah. But I mean, they have history, But I think in this situation, I mean, she did just shoot him in the eye. So I mean, he's I think in this situation, she's probably the more dangerous because she's done this kind of stuff before. The sort of World War II warfare.
Sam's pararescue. I will also say the music in this beat, when it changes on the Winter Soldier in the street. And I love the Winter Soldier's theme here. I think it makes for a great action bed. And again, Henry Jackman with the score hit it out of the park. It's wonderful. Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure this was only a small part of it, but it was a part of it, I have to think. Because just how much I noticed it, when you switch to that score, there's enough kind of an underlying constant sound that sounds similar enough to a car horn that I stopped thinking about why are there no car horns? Why is no one honking? Why is there no screeching cars? Because that music just sort of carries all of that noise in it.
Yeah, it really does. That's a really great way to put it. It's a very noisy thing. And you hear that sort of distorted industrial drone turns on first as he peels his fingers out of the street. It is really one of the most distinctive MCU scores until maybe we get to Doctor Strange, which is another extraordinary one. So, it's a wonderful set of minutes. Can't wait. I wonder how it's going to.
I know. We're
shake
only
out.
halfway through like this action sequence.
I know.
Good stuff's coming.
Awesome.
We'll see. What's he going to do with a knife? We got to find out.
We'll never know. Maybe a steak.
Tune in next time. Same cap time. Same cap channel.
You can find us at marvelmovieminute.com. You can follow us there. You can join us. You can send us questions. We will take your questions. There's a button now officially on that page where you can submit a question to us. And we're recording ahead. So I imagine by the time you hear this, we'll be many minutes down the road. But that's okay. Send your questions anyway. We'll do a recap. We'd love to hear from you. And give a quick shout out. Gents, where do you want to send people to learn more about your stuff? Kyle.
Craftandchaos.fun, our podcast about how to make art when it seems like the world's on fire.
Apropos of nothing. Matthew?
TheEthicalPanda.com, how to talk about the world is on fire when the world's on fire, because you don't want to make art because the world's on fire. Oh, but also Star Wars. Star Wars is cool.
And let's just say thenextreel.com. That's where I podcast about movies, and we just announced our 16th season. The next 48 movies broken up into 7 series, and we're very excited about the year to come starting very soon. So thenextreel.com. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We will see you right here next week on the Marvel Movie Minute.
Yeah, it was nice to see you both. So, enough said.
Let's go, Knicks!